But Lindsay's own attorney admitted she did it. He's a great attorney. Why wouldn't he give her the best defense possible? Okay, first things first. No, he didn't. Lindsay has not admitted she did it. There's no confession, and her lawyer has not admitted she did it. Her plea is not guilty. But the lawyers stipulated. They were ready to go forward with this case, stipulating to the facts. Yeah, that's called a legal strategy, because you're right. He is one of the best defense attorneys in the entire country. Now, to me, it's extremely obvious why she is taking this specific defense. Let's break it down, shall we? But first, we have to go back to the moment that Lindsay Clancy wakes up in the hospital, which I believe is about 3 days after the murders. She wakes up chained to her bed. The arrest warrant was issued while she was still unconscious. She was charged with the crime 2 days later. So she wakes up, she's handcuffed to a bed. She's already charged with the crime. Lindsay says she doesn't remember everything or anything. But you know what? I believe that she woke up remembering everything. And I mean, she woke up knowing she didn't do it. She woke up knowing what happened to her. But there she is, handcuffed to the bed, under arrest for the murder of her children. Now think about it. Now I'm actually going to do this whole thing from the perspective of Lindsay waking up, chained to the bed, under arrest, but actually knowing that she was the victim here and knowing that she didn't do it. And you guys can contest that all you want, but that's what I'm going from here. So anyway, you know you didn't do it, but you wake up chained to the bed and you're under arrest for the murder of your children, but you know that your husband did it. What are you going to do? Yell, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It was him. Where's that going to get you? Nowhere. You're already charged. Once you're arrested and charged, what are those Miranda rights? You have the right to remain silent. If she didn't do it and she knew she didn't do it, she's also seeing that Patrick has a GoFundMe, that everyone already believes that you did it, that he is getting so much sympathy and outpouring, and people are donating $1.7 million to his GoFundMe. And then you get a lawyer. And for some reason, one of the best defense lawyers in the entire country wants to take your case. Oh, and I should say, because Patrick was never a suspect, they never looked at any of his devices. They never got any discovery on anything. They didn't investigate him at all. There was an arrest warrant issued for Lindsay less than 24 hours after the murders were committed. That means he was never a suspect. They never investigated him. They assumed it was Lindsay. Now, back to Reddington. You're one of the best defense lawyers in the entire country. Are you going to accept any of this? Are you going to say, seems like she did it. Why don't we just plead guilty? Because had they done that, it would have gone straight to the mental competency phase, and we would be deciding, does she go to jail or does she go to a mental hospital? But he didn't do that. If you're one of the best defense lawyers in the entire country, would you advise your client to plead not guilty if she actually did it? But if you are one of the best defense lawyers in the entire country and you have Lindsay Clancy as your client and she says to you, either I have no recollection of doing this or I absolutely did not do this, what he's going to say to her then is, okay, stay quiet and hold tight. We're going to let this go to trial. And that's the only choice they had since the state never investigated Patrick. People have said, then why didn't she mount a third-party defense? I didn't do it, someone else did it. If Patrick had been clued to that for even a moment, that she was going to say, it wasn't me that did it, who's the only other person that could have done it? Him. Would he have decided to become a witness for both the defense and the prosecution if he had an inkling that she would be claiming she didn't do it? If Lindsay wakes up in that hospital bed and she knows she didn't do it, then she knows that her soon-to-be ex-husband is an extremely dangerous man. The last thing she's going to do is say she didn't do it. She's going to let it go to trial. And her lawyer, who is one of the best defense lawyers in the entire country, would have said, let's just make him think that you don't remember anything. That's the safest thing for you. You don't remember anything. And so we're just going to trust what Patrick says, and we're going to let this go to trial. And then he got his private investigator. He pulled the records that needed to be pulled in discovery. And they need to get Patrick on oath, under oath. Why? Because he was never investigated. So you don't get justice for Lindsay without getting Patrick on the stand under oath. You do exactly what Reddington is doing with Patrick under the stand. You get him with his lies, his inconsistencies, his I don't recall, his weirdness. You get all of that. You ask him why he has her medications in the car. You ask him why there were pills and an Apple Watch found in a nightstand that the police already searched. You ask him about that 524 email. You ask him all of these things that the investigators, the police, never asked him. You do that first to create reasonable doubt for your client, Lindsay. The reasonable doubt is what gets her acquitted. But it's everything that he says under oath that incriminates him. Now, after Lindsay is acquitted, and I think she will be, straight not guilty, but we will see, after she is acquitted, the state has the choice then to charge Patrick, and everything that he says under oath is going to be what they can use to go after him, and all the discovery that has happened in this trial, including the things we have not seen yet from the defense. That's the craziest thing about this whole trial so far. We have reasonable doubt based on the prosecution's case. Normally, the prosecution does a decent job of convincing you, and then the defense goes up and they give reasonable doubt. But we're still part of the prosecution's case, and we're like, hold up, wait a minute. That's how good Kevin is, and that's how not guilty Lindsay is. But in any case, if Lindsay is acquitted, and even if the state decides, or the Commonwealth decides not to go after Patrick, Lindsay can go after him in civil court for wrongful death. And that is likely what they're looking towards. So, in conclusion, no, she hasn't admitted to anything. Everything the lawyer has done for her has been strategic and in her best interest up to this point. And, you can come back if she's convicted and tell me I was wrong, but mark my words, she will be acquitted.